I get a lot of questions from people about their consistency. I think that word is pretty useless in the context of improving at the game. It's something that people use on analyst desks to discuss a player whose performance is unpredictable to them. And even there, it can be lazy analysis. If you're really an analyst, you'll be looking for why that player has results that vary so wildly. Are there certain playstyles that the player struggles against? Does the player need psychological momentum to function and tilt as soon as they lose once? Are there personal factors in the player's life that sometimes distract them and cause them to play worse occasionally? Sometimes in a case like that, it's impossible for an analyst to really understand on a deep level, or even isolate why this is happening to just one player on the team. So they brand them as inconsistent, and that title follows them and creates a negative reputation that player has to work to undo, and other people hear that analysis and decide it's a reasonable, useful thing to say because smart person said it on commentary once, and I want to be like smart person. What are these players doing consistently? Winning? Nobody wins consistently. If your question is, sometimes I win, but other times I go on loss streaks, why is that happening? The answer could be you're playing against different randomly chosen players with different randomly chosen teammates, and the game gave you different randomly chosen weapon comps, and sometimes the game is in your favor based on those factors, while other times it isn't. The answer could be that when you lose, you tilt, and your emotional state compromises your decision-making because elevated negative emotions literally shut parts of your brain off. It's possible that you're not knowledgeable about a certain tactic that some players know to use against you and others don't, so you beat the ones who don't know it and lose to the ones who do. The answer could be that you didn't warm up and your aim is shakier than it would have been if you'd spent 15 minutes doing aim drills before you started playing. There are so many possible answers to that question, even if you don't factor in the possibility that it's really a combination of those factors. If your only conclusion is, I'm inconsistent, you haven't figured out what you need to do differently to fix it. At the end of the day, it's all about what you're actually going to do differently. If I leave a work meeting and my boss tells me that I need to be more consistent, that work meeting was useless. If my boss instead tells me that I need to not lose 75 minutes of the workday by showing up a half hour late and then spending 45 minutes chatting up my attractive coworker and take more accountability for meeting my deadlines, that gives me 3 specific parts of my process that I can change to get to the results he's looking for. Don't spend your mental energy thinking about results, like winning or losing or getting S rank. Think about the process of how you win. Instead of, I need to win this game to finish the series ticket, think, when my team has control of the tower, I need to push in front of it so I don't let the enemy team get close enough to shoot at the tower rider uncontested. The first one is going to cause you to freak out because there's pressure and distract you from thinking about the second one, which is the kind of thinking that actually wins you games and actually wins you that series ticket. Don't even think about the results, the W's and L's, the KD ratios, the gold and silver medals, the rank points, the X powers, the looty divisions, while you're playing the game. They distract you from the thinking you need to do to get better results next time. If you do take a loss against a team you're surprised you lost to, that you usually beat, instead of trying to, quote, improve your consistency, unquote, think about these kinds of things. Did you tilt? What caused you to tilt? How do you keep from tilting that way next time? Were your mechanics, like aim and movement, slower or more error-prone than they usually are? Did you warm up before you played? Have you not been practicing as much recently and you're getting rusty? Did the other team improve? Is there something you were exploiting about them before that they've figured out and adapted to? Is their roster the same? Is there a strategy they used today that they weren't using before? Are there decisions you made in-game that were different than usual? Is there a map or mode that went especially poorly even after replaying it multiple times? Did the decisions you made that didn't work out follow any kind of pattern that you can identify? Have you been taking care of yourself? Did you sleep enough for the past 2 nights starting at the same time each night? Did you eat all the meals you usually eat? Are your meals and snacks nutritious? Have you been drinking enough water? Were you sick when you played? Were your hands cold? Did anything hurt? Is there something in your life that was subconsciously distracting you? Family drama? Something unkind that someone said to you earlier? A task you're stressing out about? If you're not sure what's going wrong still, now's the time to get an outside perspective that you trust. But because you asked yourself these questions beforehand, you'll be asking a better question of your coach than, how do I win and not lose? And trust me, your coach will be way happier to help you with that.